Lately, I've been designing apps, tablet apps, with maps in them. And I've been designing them in Figma to look like the ESRI ArcGIS JavaScript API. Now, there is a version 4.4, I believe is the late 4.22. So this is the latest version of it, and it is something that ESRI offers for free to use, and you can put maps and data into applications if you're a developer. And I'm not a developer, I'm a designer, so I would develop designs in Figma and then pass them off to a developer to create. But you can see the Bureau of Land Management National Data Set uses the API. Now this is looking at it in the desktop, and it's a very powerful way when you have feature classes, point, line, polygon data, to show it in an interface and to have your data connected to it, and it's really kind of fun. And let me see if I can show you what this would look like on a tablet. So let's put it at 50%. So you can see 75% is better for this. So you can see, it's very useful on a tablet as well. And you can set visibility ranges, you can set transparencies, and this is something that a lot of companies that put maps into their applications, they will go to this JavaScript API. So how does one create these designs in Figma? Well, first of all, in a later video I'll show you how to use a plugin to put maps in. But the first thing you want to do is get the ESRI icons, symbols, and components. And I will put a link to this in the description. You need to go to ESRI's GitHub repo. So this would be first things first. I'm going to copy this and go into my browser, paste it here, and you should have a GitHub. Well, you don't necessarily need one. Look, I'm not even signed in. But it's nice to have a GitHub account. But if you're not, you can go into this link, and these are .fig files. Components, typography, colors, and icons, and a really nice README. And the README really gives you very good instructions on how to do this, and then to add it as another library in your Figma environment. So what I'm going to do is just go through that with you. To download. So now I've downloaded the Calcite component.fig. Go back for a second. We click on typography, click the download button, Calcite typography.fig, and so on, colors. And you can see that the ESRI, the developers and the designers, keep these up to date and bless them for it. So let me get rid of that. So now what you would do, let's see if I can show this to you this way. What you would do is you'd go into Figma to, say you have a library. I like to, under my account, I like to keep library as a project, and that's where I have my Angular material library and these point symbols and icons, but I'll show you how I get them in there. So you would just drag it in. And I'm not going to do that because I already have it in there, but you would just drag these in and drop them, and then they would be in your library project. And then what you do is you follow the README, and let's open up Calcite Icons. And it comes in like this. And these are all the icons, the ESRI icons. And the really great thing about them, if you look on the right, is they've created them to, they've grouped them as variants, which is super. Because when you pull one of them into your current design, you can easily just switch the size to 24 or 32. So, but in order to do that, follow the README and you click anywhere in the file, and then you pull down the chevron and publish styles and components. So now I've got all these variants, 622 of them. I've never published them before, so I'm going to hit publish. So it takes a minute. It's so well worth the effort. Try to do one of the other ones. Colors. Open the colors, and we'll publish styles and components. Okay, this one is publishing. Successfully published. And who do we have left? Let's go back here, and we'll go to icons. Components. Here. Let's download components. Here. Drop components. Definitely not organized enough. Could rename this. I don't like that. There we go. I think I just downloaded them a couple times. Anyway, I'm going to publish style, publish the library, publishing, colors we've already published, typography we had trouble with, and icons we published. So now I go into my file and click on assets. You're usually in layers. I'm going to tap on the assets bar and tap on the little team library icon. Looks like an open book. And now you can see, oh look, typography is here. That is so odd. Colors is here, icons is here. Remember, components is still working. But I want to turn these on for this file. Icons, typography. So let me show you what happens then. Enable libraries for all team files from my team setting. Yes, I will. So if I'm ever more than a team of one, everyone will have access. But I doubt I will be more than a team of one for quite some time. So now when I'm in here, say I want to just drop my top bar, drop in a title bar, just reusable components, drop in my safe space at the bottom, right? A little sloppy. Alright, now I want to search for, let's see, Calcite Icons. what do I want? Say I want this little apps widget. I just want to pull it in here for some reason. Pull it in here. Incidentally, it's always good to just add your layout grid. I like to use columns. I like to use 2 columns. I like to do a margin of 16 and a gutter of 24. Just to get started. And we just have this icon here. And as I was saying, the nice thing is that the ESRI team created them as variants so that you can just switch from one variant, 24 pixels, 32 pixels, as you need to from the right side. And then because all these Calcite UI colors are here, right? Because I also added the Calcite UI colors. I added that library to this file, so I can just choose one of the Calcite UI colors, which is really nice. And let's see. Typography components. Components finished? Oh, still going. Yes, that's going to be a while. But when you get a chance, you can pull in some components as well. You would be able to search for, you know, like the molecules, right? Like selectors and things like that, and add them in. So there's one more piece to the puzzle for the Calcite. So you have the UI colors, the components, and the typography. And when you have a map, and I'm just going to add a map here that I already have. So I'm going to turn off my grid. I'm going to hide it. And I'm going to, okay, this is a map I created. These should not be scrolling. So I'm going to move them up here. And that's good. So I've got the Android status bar. We're going to pop that to the top. We're going to pop the save space to the top. Pop the title bar to the top. This is the little icon I added. And yes, it is under the map for now, just to show you. And just going to turn these off. Talk about this in another tutorial later. But if you're on the map and you want to add some symbols to the map, ESRI has a whole section for their Calcite symbols. Calcite point symbols they were not found in the UI kits, this section of their GitHub repository. They're still in the ESRI GitHub repository, but they're at a different link, and they're not set up as fig files. So why don't we open that link, and I'll show you. We'll do it together. See, that's the one, and now here's the other. So, no .fig file, not so lucky. This one we have to manage a little bit on our own. So many SVG files here, so many symbols. These are all super great symbols. Let me show you. Here's the one for attack. If you're in the water industry and you need a valve, actually you can just Control F if you're on a Mac. Valve. Oh, here's an access valve right here. Now here's an excess flow valve. Here's a flow valve. Here's a pressure valve. Why don't we look at a pressure valve? This would be a pressure valve. Now, instead of like pulling each SVG in at a time, that would be really tedious. So let's go back here, and so we want to back it up. like I said, downloading each one would be super tedious. So let's go all the way back till you see master here. Now this is, of course, a lot. There's code in here and there's other files. We're really interested in this file. This is the icons folder that has all the icons that we need. But you can't just grab that one, but you can pull down this selector here for code, and you can say download zip. So you choose download zip, and now you're downloading a zip file of all this stuff, including the icons folder. So now I want to show this in Finder, or you can look at it in your file. If you're on Windows, your File Explorer. And let's see, downloads, here we are. Let's see, I've done this a couple times. So it's extracting. All right, boom. We've got, where's our favorite? Ah, yes, the icons. So when you open the icons, like, oh, there's information on how to contribute. That's really good, because I would like to contribute someday. So you want to go back to Figma. You want to create a new design file. Call it whatever you like. I'm just going to shrink this a little bit. I don't even have to do that. Open Finder to show you. So I'm going to select all of them and grab them and drag them in, all 977 of them, drag them in to, close this now, to an untitled draft, which you can call anything you want. So this isn't nearly as organized as the Calcite icons, but I think it would be a really neat not crowdsourced project, but a neat project for someone or a group of someone to go in here and start organizing them in that way as variants. So you can see here for coffee, you have 13 pixels, 17 pixel one, and a 21 pixel one. And the reason that the Calcite Point symbols are 13, 17, and 21 pixels is in order to be centered properly on a map. They're especially, or specifically, you can see I just did not, I wrote this little readme, but I did not spell it correctly. Specifically created for use on in a map, while the Calcite UI icons are created for use outside the map. So I'll go back and fix my spelling there. So let's go back up to the symbols. What I started to do in my version was make it look like the icons one, copied that, and as I use these, I want to be try to do the right thing and move them. So there's the ones for indigenous, so I'm going to go put that over near I. I'm going to paste them here. You can see how I'm turning them into variants. So I'm going to just organize them one on top of the other. Right. And that's /13. This one I'm going to rename /17. This one I'm going to rename /21. And I'm going to turn each one into a component. And then I'm going to select them all and combine as variants. and the property is 13, 17, or 21. Right? So if I Control C, copy that, and go back to my tutorial and paste it here on the map, I can then change the property 17 pixels or 21 pixels. And that's the way I'm using it right now. I haven't published it as a library because it's really not cleaned up yet. But if I ever get to the point where I have all these icons moved in and created as variants over here, then I would share this whole .fig out, to people who wanted it. The only thing is, how does it stay updated? I believe people are adding to this all the time and maybe changing these. So you definitely want to keep checking back to the GitHub and checking this folder, watching this folder for new updates. And that's how I got all the Calcite and ESRI icons and colors and types into Figma so that I can use them and to design things that look like the ESRI JavaScript map API, and then hand that off to a developer to develop.